Hey everyone! So, whether you're a university student dreaming about your first big project, or you're already out there on the construction site, we're going to talk about the one thing that truly separates the good project managers from the great ones, and that's professional responsibility. It's kind of the secret sauce to success, and we're about to break it all down. So let me ask you this. What is it really that makes a PM stand out? I mean, it's got to be more than just hitting your deadlines and staying under budget, right? Well, the answer is what we're talking about today, professional responsibility. And we're going to dive right into what that actually means. So what even is professional responsibility? Let's be clear, it's not just about ticking off boxes on a checklist or, just getting the job done. It's a mindset. It's a commitment to a higher standard that shapes every single decision you're going to make on a project. Okay, at its core, it's about a few key things. Holding yourself to high ethical standards, making choices that are good for everybody involved, and making sure the entire team is pulling in the same direction. I like to think of the PM as the bridge between the idea and the reality. Your job is to make sure that bridge is built on a rock-solid foundation of integrity. Now, to really get a handle on this, we're going to break it down into what I call the 5 pillars. These are the absolute building blocks for a career in project management, the things you really have to master. So let's jump in with the first one. All right, pillar number 1, ethical decision making. Look, as a project manager, you're going to find yourself in these tricky gray areas all the time, where the right call isn't always black and white. Let's walk through a pretty classic scenario. So, meet Amanda. She's in a spot a lot of you might recognize. She's managing a big project, and she's on the committee that's choosing the vendors. Then, one of those vendors offers her an all-expenses-paid trip. Sounds nice, right? But here's the catch. The selection process is still ongoing. And we're not talking about a small project here. This is a $1.2 million upgrade. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for the company, but for Amanda's professional reputation. The pressure to make the right decision here is huge. If she accepts that trip, it creates a massive conflict of interest. It probably violates company policy, and it just looks bad. So her sense of professional responsibility kicks in. She politely declines, which protects her integrity and keeps her recommendation totally unbiased. That right there is what ethical leadership looks like. Okay, next up, accountability. Especially in fields like construction, let's be real, things go wrong. Delays happen. But the true test of a great project manager isn't about avoiding problems, it's about how you respond when they pop up. I want you to put yourself in this situation. You're managing a big high-rise build. A key supplier misses a delivery, and suddenly your whole schedule is in jeopardy. Now, the easy thing to do is just blame the supplier, right? But an accountable PM, they take a totally different path. So instead of pointing fingers, you own it. You immediately activate that contingency plan you already had, like a backup supplier you've got on standby. And then you communicate clearly with your team to adjust the schedule. See, it's all about finding solutions, not just making excuses. This whole idea of being proactive leads us right into our next 2 pillars, which are really tied together: managing stakeholders and risk. Both of these are about seeing around corners and dealing with problems before they even start. Take a hospital construction project, for instance. You've got a ton of stakeholders. The hospital admins are worried about the budget, the local authorities are focused on compliance, and the community, they're concerned about noise and traffic. A responsible PM sees all this coming and communicates proactively with everyone to build trust and keep things moving smoothly. And it's the exact same thing with risk management. Let's say you're building a bridge. Well, weather is a huge predictable risk. So you don't just cross your fingers and hope for sunshine. No, you identify that risk early, you build your schedule around it, like pouring concrete in the driest season, and you have contingency plans ready to go. That is how you stay in control. And that brings us to our 5th and final pillar, which honestly ties everything else together: continuous improvement. See, the end of a project isn't just a finish line, it's a huge learning opportunity. Every single project can teach you something to make the next one even better. For example, maybe you just finished building a shopping mall, and in the project review, you realize your initial cost estimates were way off because of some site conditions nobody expected. That's not a failure. That is a priceless lesson for the next time you're bidding a job.
So you should always be looking for those lessons, whether it's getting better at your cost estimates, reevaluating your contractors, or just improving how you communicate. This cycle of learning and refining your process is what's going to turn you into a top-tier project manager.
So, when you boil it all down, professional responsibility isn't just one single thing. It's this powerful combination of ethical leadership, proactive accountability, and a constant drive to get better. It truly is the foundation of every successful project. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. Think about a time your professional responsibility was really put to the test. What was the toughest call you had to make, and what did you learn from it? Because really, those are the moments that are going to define your entire career. Thanks for tuning in.